I made a video a while back categorizing different types of down payment assistance into 4 buckets: second lien programs, due on sale, forgivable, and grant or no strings attached. If you haven't watched that one, check that out first. For one, because I think it's a great foundational breakdown of types of down payment assistance. I'll put the link below, but also because what I'm about to talk about in this video doesn't cleanly fit into any one of those categories. It borrows pieces from different ones, but it's unique enough where I feel it deserves its own explanation. So here's the setup. This is an FHA down payment assistance program. And on the surface, it comes off like a grant. It's either 3.5% or 5% down payment assistance. It is the exact same interest rate as a regular FHA loan with this particular lender. However, here's the catch. It's not funded by a bond or any kind of state-run program. It's funded by wrapping a solar system installation, or in some cases, a battery system or an EV charger into the mortgage, but at the market FHA interest rate. So the cost of that solar system becomes part of your overall mortgage amount. And that's what creates the down payment assistance. Because everything is wrapped in that first mortgage, you don't have a second mortgage on the property. And that's really important because usually when you have solar systems that are financed, you have a second lien on the property. If you have to sell, you either have to pay off that second lien or get it transferred to the new homeowner's name. And with your forgivable loans, where you have a silent second lien that goes away after a certain period of time, if you have to sell before you've met the requisites for that loan, you have to pay off that second lien as well. With this structure, because it's all wrapped together in one loan, you have the ability to do a streamlined FHA refinance. You don't have some of the extra hurdles that come with having a second lien on the property. So let's put some actual numbers behind it. Say you're in Texas, you're buying a $400,000 house and you need down payment assistance. You can either go with a 3.5% option, so basically offsetting all of your down payment with an FHA loan. So that's $14,000, or you can go with a 5% option, which is $20,000, covering all your down payment plus 1.5% of your closing costs. Now, when you do the larger option, again, no difference in the interest rate on either option. You're getting the same market FHA interest rate. The difference is the solar system. If you're doing a 5% down payment assistance option, you're adding a much larger solar system. So in this example, you're adding at least a $44,000 system with the 5% option versus $31,000 if you're doing the lower option. So that will add to your monthly payment. It's not a no strings attached program. There's no denying that. You do have a solar system now, so that will bring down your utility cost to some degree. Now, I certainly wouldn't recommend doing this program just to get your utility costs lower, because the math isn't going to add up. This is a down payment assistance program first and foremost, and solar is kind of the cherry on top. Now, here's the part that surprises most people. The house only needs to appraise for the purchase price, not the total loan amount with the solar system included. This is because of a specific FHA provision, 203B solar and wind technologies, where you're allowed to go up to 20% higher than the appraised value in order to finance the technology, in this case, a solar system. You're financing more than the home appraises for, and it's fully permitted because the solar is treated as a value-adding property improvement rather than something that has to be independently supported by comps. Real quick, if breakdowns like this are useful, hit the like and subscribe button. I post videos weekly on either new loan programs or what's going on in the market, anything that helps demystify mortgages. Credit-wise, this program goes as low as 590, which is the normal FHA floor. However, most down payment assistance programs only go down to 620. So that's another kind of unique part of this program. Another nice thing about this program, there are no geographic limitations. There's also no income requirement. So you can't make too much money to be able to use this program, which is the case for many down payment assistance options. If you qualify for FHA based on your credit and debt to income, you can use this program full stop. Couple other paths worth mentioning. If the house already has solar on it, you can still do this program by adding a battery system or an EV charger. There's also ways where you can finance a new roof using this program. However, if the house already has solar and a battery, you can't just finance the roof by itself. That type of house would not qualify for this program. One other thing to mention, this is not for purchase only. You can use this loan as a rate and term refinance, and you can apply the 3.5% or 5% to covering the closing costs and to buying down a lower interest rate while adding solar to the house. Now, one caveat to the money itself, let's say you do the 5% and you cover all your closing costs and there's a little extra over, you cannot pull the extra cash out. It would be applied to a principal pay down, so just lowering the total balance of the mortgage. So back to the buckets of down payment assistance. The best way I would categorize this is it is a grant with strings attached. Because there's no increase in the interest rate, I'd still say mechanically on the front end, it is a grant. However, even though you are getting something in exchange for the higher loan amount, there's definitely strings attached to it. If you are short on a down payment and interested in solar or battery add, this is worth a conversation. Feel free to book a time on my calendar. Links in my bio, and let's talk about if it works for you.